Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the podcast. And thank you. I'm sorry, but my lights are all screwed up. I'm all kinds of washed out right now. I'm a big floating bright white head, so please endure. So Windex, it's just going to be fun, man. The only reason I'm actually doing this is because it's just fun to say Windex. Is the new level 2 up on Juno, replacing Juno Swap because Juno Swap was just not good. So it launched, it came out. Thought we should talk about it a little bit. I just want to give you guys my opinions. Now, before we start, I'm going to disclose that I'm biased against Juno. Not crazy about it. It started good, but just there was a lot of stuff, a lot of drama that was going around on a permissionless chain, which is funny to me. So I kind of checked out after that. So take anything I say with a grain of salt. I had some Juno sitting around. We went ahead and pumped it over there, and I'm just going to give you my opinions on this. I am an opinion editorial channel. I want to make that real clear. I'm not all knowing, all seeing, and I don't get them all right. Just going to give you my opinion as a pretty much very dedicated farmer, and call this a prediction. And let's see where we end up on this one here. So Juno, they got a little bit of a spike, not monstrous. Where are we at? 18% over 30 days. That's nice. It's not exactly start popping the champagne corks because I'll tell you what, you break that one out over 180 days, and yikes! I mean, that's just not a happy place. And if you bust it over a year, man, it's even worse. That's heartbreaking right there. That is a good idea that got hyped and then got Black Swan, and it never recovered fully. But you know what? If you've never been in Juno, that's kind of the rub. If you've never been in Juno, then you know what? It's not a bad buy. It's cheap. You can get right in and maybe have some fun with it. But who knows? Dow is kind of having and this all goes to a whole thing, guys. Just hear me out. Dow is having an interesting day, and there's just tons of Bitcoin action right now. I mean, this is catching the falling knife, and there's just people are lining up trying to do this one. I'm sitting this out. I'm pretty well baked into where I want to be baked into. But we are talking about Windex. That's funny, man. You know what? Another round of applause for Windex. You have to know it when you named it that. You had to know Windex, but maybe we were going for brand recognition. If that being the case, you guys nailed it. So let's talk about it here just a little bit. I had I don't know, maybe 10 grand in Juno. I went ahead and pumped it over. I had no particular problem swapping it for WYND. I consider it lost money right now. Any of that Juno is just kind of sitting there. So if there's an opportunity to farm the hell out of something and try to get it back, then I'm certainly going to take advantage of it. The Juno swap pools carried over. I had some gelato cooking on there. I'd forgotten all about it. I didn't even realize that I still had any on there. So we have our Juno gelato still sitting there having some fun. I haven't clicked this one yet. Let me see if I'm actually getting any. Yep, 0.58 win. So we're on the road to recovery with that one, guys. Some interesting pools. You're familiar with all of these. The only difference, I think, is that we swapped raw for WYND. But effectively, all the pools are about the same. Now, they did put on some of these big APRs. This one is terrifying. The WYND Osmo and the WYND Juno are absolutely terrifying pools. Look at the APRs on those. I mean, that is shocking. But they did kind of burn you into it with a little bit, because if you do want to get that big ass APR, you're going for 42 days. You're leaving it in there for a 42-day lock-in. I personally think that this is a monstrous step back as far as decentralized exchanges go. What I look for now are dexes that have no lock-in. I don't want to commit my money that long. And 42 days is insanity, absolute insanity in crypto. The entire landscape changes in 42 days. So we're not even talking about stake, like a 3-week, 21-day unbonding from a stake. We're talking about 42 days, man, that you are burned into this thing. So I did it simply so that we could harvest up some of the wind, and because I consider it lost money already. So when you have absolutely nothing to lose, and I have absolutely nothing to lose, sure, toss 10 grand in. Let's see what happens here. Uh, but we did burn it in, and I hit all the different ones. So we got a 42, a 28, a 14, and a 7. So I broke up all the money there. And let's just harvest it. Let's see what happens. If what is likely going to happen, pretty transparent what is going to happen. When you're pushing out that much wind, it's gonna deflate. I mean, that's all it is, man. You're talking about a pretty hyperinflationary with those kind of APRs. You're talking about a lot of inflation on that token, and it's just going to burn. And as it burns, it's going to, meaning as it devalues, and this is still an AMM, as this thing devalues, it's going to eat the other side of the pool, and in this case Juno. So eventually all of my, I think if we let this in here for a long enough time, eventually all of my Juno will become Win at an exceptionally devalued at an exceptionally devalued number. You know what, we've seen this is nothing new. Again, I consider it a step back, but I opinion editorial, man. I could be crazy wrong here. It could be the best thing ever. There are a couple of pools on here that I did consider somewhat reasonable. Juno USDC. I'm okay with that one because I like to pair with stable tokens. So anything that can pair with a stable token, I'm going to be fine with. Juno Atom is probably the most reasonable, but again, you are pairing with Juno. That's kind of the issue with this one because that token is just, I mean, poke it with a stick, man. You're going to have some trouble getting that thing to move. But yeah, it's not terrible. That's I'm just going to put it there. It's not terrible if you're in for a very short period of time. This would have been Farmer's Delight any other time, but they did kind of hook you with these big ass long lock-ins. Now I want to show you this one here. That's the big one, the Juno Atom. 42 days. 42 days. I have to lock up a stake here to get 24.5%. No, no, that's not going to happen. There's no world that would happen that I would lock up my Atom for 42 days. I do believe in it, but again, I also move money from point A to point B to point C a lot. So I'm not going to bury it away on this. Apparently, I have some. I guess that carried over from that was leftover. Sorry, third screen. That was leftover from Juno Swap. That's the when you leave the house, and I had left the house, you don't take everything. Sometimes there's some trash on the floor. That was trash on the floor. I'm glad it made it over. So you know what? Another round of applause for Windex. Windex. Not loving it. You know what? You do you, man. I've missed on these things before. I just I don't see enough newness here, and I absolutely hate the what they're doing with these long ass lock-ins. Loop did that too. If you guys remember Loop Markets, they were doing that over on their level 2 that they spun up. So Loop was trying that same thing. I don't think it worked out really well. I can't think of anybody that is comfortable locking up their money for that length of time. I absolutely am not. I'm doing it here, and I did do it. You guys saw it. I did do it here for purposes of making videos about it, and with the big views we get, man, of course, why wouldn't I toss 10 grand in there? But I assure you that win will be converted immediately. Every time it hits, I will convert it to Atom, and I will pull it off. So that's what farmers do. You do you on this one. I do want to give the kudos. I think the graphics are their graphics are much better. I think the dashboard is good. I've done the swaps, so their swap functions work. I think the pools are pretty well self-explanatory about what's going on here. Nice and easy, and I'm not going to get into gauges and governance. That's a separate video, but for anybody who happens to have some loose Juno and wants to know how to put it to work a little bit better than you can put it to work on Osmosis, it's not a terrible place if you are sold on Juno. if you're not sold on Juno, man, there's no interest here. This is not one for you. Move along, carry on. There's always something better. I'd recommend Crescent. Take a look at Crescent. They got a lot going on. But yeah, man, look, that's about it. You know what? We'll do the one more because I did say I was going to farm this stuff. Let's see, which pool do we pull here? Wind, Osmo, Wind, Juno. So nice and simple. Let me see if it refreshed. I'm just going to claim the rewards real quick. So this is what I will be doing pretty much endlessly. It pops up. They give me win. I'm going to take that win. I'm going to claim the win. And once that win claims, I'm going to come right over here to swap. I'm going to swap for that win for whatever the atom I can get for it. Let's see, what do we got there? We took 13. Is that what it was? $3.63, and we're going to swap it, and we're going to turn that into atom. And once it's turned into atom, that atom will be departing, coming back to my wallet. So I'm going to try to use this as a roundabout way to convert all of my Juno and the airdrop wind into atom without paying, any kind of really slippage. That's what we're going for here. It's something different. Come on. Who else does videos like this? That's all I got on this one, guys. Questions or comments, Scott@thepodcast.com. I answer any and all. And until next time, please stay safe. Please be smart with your money. Cheers.